Hello there, Philip here, and today we're going to be going over Columbina's version 1 kit. And it's actually mostly similar to what I said in my last video on Columbina, covering the pre-beta leaks, so to everyone who doubted them, where are you now? But there are a few changes, so I'd like to go over all of them, as well as cover the multitude of Columbina teams I calculated, and not just the Nordcry DPS like I've seen most people do. But before we do that, as always, if at any points during the video entertained or informed, make sure to drop a like and even consider subscribing, as I talk on various topics regarding Genshin's meta and I'll try to keep you updated. Shout out to my lovely channel members, I appreciate the support, it means the world to me. And also, so right now both Durin and Venti are on banner, so if you'd like to cut down on the costs while going for them, then I would like to announce the sponsor for today's video, LD Shop. LD Shop is a very safe and reliable top-up site that allows you to get Primo Gems at a great deal starting from 15% off, while keeping your data safe. As for transactions, you only need to type in your UID and region, as you can see me doing here. Just needed to quickly refresh my welkin, and as you can see, it's here. And make sure to use my link, as that way you'll receive an extra 15% off coupon, as well as a 5% off coupon which can save you up to $50. LD Shop goes through official channels as well, meaning that you won't lose any of the in-game benefits like first-time top-up bonuses, so no need to worry. And additionally, because LD Shop is so great, users who spend over $80 will receive a VIP membership, which rewards you with free welcome moons. So head over to ldshop.gg using my link in the description below. What are you waiting for? Thanks to LD Shop for sponsoring this video, now back to it. So to break down Columbina's kit, she's obviously a Hydra Catalyst user, no surprises there. But one thing I do think is important to mention is that the pre-beta leak was slightly wrong on one detail, and it's that Columbina will enable lunar reactions by herself. So just via having Columbina on the team, you'll enable Lunar Charge, Lunar Bloom, and Lunar Crystallize. And I'm still going to hold the stance that I held in my last video that this doesn't really matter. Again, I'm not really complaining that she can do it, it's just the fact that it doesn't really make a difference whether she could enable them or not, considering what the rest of her kit entails. And just with the fact that the lunar reactions are significantly more valuable when you're using the Nordcry DPSs. So yes, Columbina enables lunar reactions, whatever. Now to actually get into her kit, unlike most other characters, Columbina surprisingly does have something going on with her charge attack, where if you have at least one Verdant Dew, her charge attack will be replaced with a special one that will consume your Verdant Dew and do more damage. And the damage this charge attack deals will also be Lunar Bloom damage, so it can be buffed by Llama. And sorry to disappoint, but I have not yet looked into DPS Columbina, but when I do, you should go check my Twitter, as I'll post it there first. Moving on to Columbina's elemental skill, it's very similar in nature to Malvika's, where Columbina will do an initial instance of AoE Hydra damage, and then you'll have a ring that follows the active character, and once every 2 seconds she'll deal and apply AoE Hydra damage. Now the raw damage of this skill actually isn't all that, but whenever lunar reaction damage is dealt, or when characters trigger lunar reactions, once every 2 seconds Columbina will accumulate 20 gravity, and once you have 60 gravity, Columbina will deal a lunar attack based on the lunar reaction that gave her the most gravity. So essentially, if you're playing her in a lunar crystallized team, she'll deal lunar crystallized damage every 6 seconds. If you're playing her in a lunar charge team, she'll do lunar charge damage every 6 seconds. And if you're playing her in a lunar bloom team, she'll deal lunar bloom damage every, guess what? 6 seconds. These hits are where most of her damage is going to come from, and it's nice because they also get the same benefits that the lunar reactions would. So for example, if you're using Columbina with Llama, then Columbina will be able to receive the crit buffs and burst buffs Llama provides, as well as benefiting from the base multiplier increases. Columbina's skill also lasts for 25 seconds, which is absurd, whilst having a 17-second cooldown, so you can very easily play her in both long and short rotations without issues. Columbina's elemental burst is pretty much as said in the pre-beta, but fuck that, please, if you haven't seen it, go search up what this animation looks like, it's absolutely stunning. And what it does is actually pretty simple, you just deal AoE Hydra damage, and then Columbina will give the team a 40% lunar reaction damage bonus. This buff lasts for 20 seconds with a 15-second cooldown, so again it should work fine on both long and short rotations. I guess I may as well just bring this up now, but Columbina has somewhat developed Freena's curse. She has a 60 cost burst and is primarily being played on teams as the solo Hydra unit. Not only that, but her particles are turret based, which is nice for your on-field unit as they get to catch more particles, but for Columbina herself, she has pretty steep energy requirements. At the very least though, Columbina's signature weapon does have an energy refund, but for everyone else who isn't pulling for her signature, then Favonius Codex or Prototype Amber is going to be your best friend. Favonius having an energy recharge substat as well as giving you clear particles, and Prototype Amber restores 18 flat energy to Columbina, and also Columbina is HP scaling, so Prototype Amber is actually good for her damage, and actually offers a form of sustain on some teams while not being a troll option. So yes, enjoy using one of Columbina's 3 weapons or building 600 ER on her. For Ascension passives, Columbina's first one will give her 8 crit rate every time she triggers a max gravity attack. Her second Ascension passive will be the Sirene one, where after casting an elemental burst, if you trigger a lunar reaction whilst inside it, if the reaction you triggered was lunar charged, then the interval of the reaction will be reduced by 0.5, making it so that lunar charge will attack every 1.5 seconds instead of every 2 seconds. If you trigger Lunar Bloom, it basically just gives you 3 extra Verdant Dews on a separate bar, so that you can hold 6 Verdant Dew totals while having double the regeneration speed. But you can only get 3 of these special dews once every 18 seconds. And then for Lunar Crystallize, it just makes it do more damage, but we'll get more into that when I actually make my dedicated video on Zibai. So for now, let's just brush over that. Columbina's last Ascension talent is just all the Nordcry jargon in one. It states that she can enable lunar reactions, gives the base multiplier of 7%, and will also increase her moon sign level by 1, what you'd expect. So to summarize Columbina's playstyle, as a support, she'll do her skill and burst, and then as you trigger lunar reactions or deal lunar damage, she will let out really powerful lunar attacks every 6 seconds. Now of course the first teams I calculated are going to be the Nordcry DPSs, in which both Nefra and Flint's have shot up massively. Starting with Flint's, he's now comfortably 130k DPS. Columbina doesn't really provide anything quality of life wise to Flint, she just increases both Inefa and Flint's damage, while also making LC tick faster, and while doing pretty good personal damage of her own, which results in the massive damage jump you can see here. But to be fair, Flint's base teams without Columbina and using Aino or Farina did also get an increase. There's a new artifact set coming in Luna 3 that gives you 60% lunar reaction damage while you're off field, and while being good for Columbina, this also ends up being Inefa's best set too, raising Flint's team's base power level. Inefa also does so much damage in Flint's teams that's actually a damage loss to not have her on this set in Columbina teams as well, and you'd rather have Columbina on SMS. So yes, another Inefa upscale. And then for Nefra, of course Columbina is a massive DPS boost, but not only that, the 3 extra Verdant Dews you get per rotation will be extremely handy as it lets Llama do a hold skill, and it also allows Nefra to not have to wait for Verdant Dew, which makes Nefra's field time shorter. I've seen a lot of people complain about the 18-second rotation time I've set for this team, but even with the full 5-star team of bursts, I've been able to do around 18.5-second rotations while having to wait for a dew. If Columbina removes the need for you to wait for a dew, on top of you not having to use Nefra's E at the beginning of rotations past the first one, I don't see a reason why the rotation would go over 18 seconds. 18.5 seconds at the worst. But we will see when leakers actually record teams, maybe I'm wrong. Also, because of the fact that Columbina does 5 instances of Lunar Bloom damage every 6 seconds, you are really going to want to hold Llama's skill, so she's able to add more quills onto her burst. Otherwise, Columbina will just steal buffs away from Nefer. In my calculations, I'm assuming you hold E with Llama with 2 Verdant Dew, which means that the last 4 Lunar Bloom hits of Columbina go unbuffed, but it's still really good DPS anyways. Another thing I want to note about Columbina is that she doesn't really boost Nefer's damage. Most of what Columbina's providing is just her own DPS. She isn't really boosting Nefer's damage more than Aino on Instructors is. So if just seeing your Nefer do the most damage is what you want, then you rather invest in Nefer Constellations. But nonetheless, just having 3 extra Verdant Dew is too big of a quality of life upside that I really don't think any Nefer mains should be skipping Columbina. Now with the 2 Nordcry DPSs covered, I did want to look at teams outside of them, so we have a greater indication of Columbina's strength. Because Columbina provides team-wide lunar buffing, I've been saying this since pre-beta, but the Inefa Columbina duo is actually really good at scary. I'm dubbing this as a divine wheelchair because it's scary how good this core is. I wanted to look at a pyro carry in which I just chose Hu Tao, in which case via enabling Night Sky, and also just Columbina and Inefa's damage, the output these two have is enough to make it Hu Tao's best team, and with C1 it boosts her over 100k DPS. A lot of people have been asking why I chose Aino here instead of like Yulan or Farina, and it's because Aino with the Flame Forged Claymore, and being able to build full EM in subs, with an EM Goblet and EM Sands, it makes her do a lot of lunar charge damage, and this amplifies Inefa's output, especially considering the fact that the lunar charge interval is lower, and Aino also provides 80 EM to Hu Tao, so I honestly can't really see Yulan or Farina being better than this. I then next wanted to look at an Electro driver, so I chose my GOAT Chlorinde, and Yeah, the divine wheelchair. You are seeing things correctly. That is Lunar Charged plus Inefa doing almost 1 million DPR. And do you want to know what's so fucked up about this? This is theoretically Clorin's second best team behind Overload stuff with Dur Normal Vika. That's so sad. I put Kazuha on this team because I wanted to see Clorin's do damage. It didn't help. Putting Sucrose on this team to buff Inefa and Columbina more might be better than buffing Clorin's damage. But I've been too lazy to calculate that, so again, if I do post an update, it will be on Twitter first. But yes, Inefa Columbina is an amazing wheelchair core. You can use literally anyone in the last 2 slots, it doesn't matter. There is nothing special that Clorin or Kazuha are really doing there that any other Hydro or Electro character couldn't do. Well, Kazuha is providing resistance shred, but Sucrose can do that too. Jilin with instructors can do that too effectively. So yeah, you could put Sethos here and the team would do over 90k DPS. This is going to be the dumbest wheelchair core in the game. The last scenario I did look at due to the request of Jello Impact was using Columbina for Skirk teams. Columbina doesn't really do that much damage outside of lunar reactions, but via Escoffier, Furina, and all of their buffs, the lower energy recharge requirement helps too. It makes it so that Columbina with Thrilling Tales is actually able to be a competitive Skirk option that's actually like not completely cope, which I think is really funny. This also means that Columbina should be competitive for others like Risley, Ayaka, Ganyu, and so on, just because of the easy access of Thrilling Tales plus personal damage. I will try to look for more non-lunar ways to use Columbina, but this seems to be the limit to where you can really push her outside of lunar teams. I was also planning to look at Columbina for the Nordcry DPS without their dedicated supports, but I'll save that for another video. But yeah, Columbina looks very strong. She makes Nefer, Flint, and Zibai most likely top 3 DPS, better than Skirk right now, and Nefer is arguably better than Movika depending on if you can do her most advanced combos, whilst also enabling Inefa to be an even stronger sub DPS, making an insanely powerful wheelchair core with the both of them. And I haven't looked at it yet because Dendra teams are a pain, but I am expecting really good results for her in Dendra teams with Llama. Outside of Nordcry teams, as I said, she probably isn't going to be that valuable, but the Nordcry units are just really strong, so it's hard for me not to recommend her, especially if you have any of the Nordcry cast. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts on Columbina and if you're pulling for her, as I would love to hear it and I respond to almost every single comment. Channel members, hugs and kisses to you all. I hope you can feel that that's me hugging and kissing you. Actually, that's kind of weird to take that back. Thanks again everyone else for watching, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Peace.